public opinion on this. All right. Well, we're going to get to that.
Yo.
Matthew 24:9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you.
All right. Want to talk a little bit about situation going on with Young Thug. You know, everybody's in a tyranny over it or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But we're gonna see what we can do to enlighten people to free themselves from this legal tyranny, you know, that puts people in a bad place that's, you know, from urban communities. All right. Do the best we can. I want to show you our video. All right. And this topic I want to talk about. Here, we'll watch this video. We'll take it from there.
So this one here says she doesn't have to give me any kind of information. That all she has to do is say her name. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. I don't have a name. Christians have names. I am a Moor. Moors have titles. Let me say this, ma'am. The only one supposed to identify themselves is the person who has my child. And there's rules and law. You gave an oath to secure my unalienable constitutional rights. You can play the police authority game with you if you want to.
I'm not playing the authority game. I'm asking you some
questions. And I'm letting you know, where's your delegation of authority order from Congress, certifiable and in writing on the public record? Where's your affidavit of fact? Where's your affidavit of fact?
My affidavit, how about my oath of office? It's probably on file with the county. I'm not sure where it's filed at.
Okay, so you're letting me know you're a party to this, to piracy, and you're kidnapping my child, human trafficking?
No, we're bringing your child back to you, and we're trying to...
I've been seeing European children walking around here all day. No one picked them up. They said my child has not breached the peace at all, but they picked them up. So I'm letting you know, yeah, you are useless. Mm-hmm. I have the right to speak.
You have a job?
It's a beautiful thing to know the law. It really is. And I know that you're outside of law because you're acting outside of constitutional fold of government. And then we can talk about international law violations. See, before I've been kind, I always drop it and I leave it alone. But now that's piracy, human trafficking, treason, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of a nationality nor the right to change one. My child is not Negro, black, or colored, and so he's not under color of law. Your little 1724 Christian black codes, baby. I understand it very well. That's where you're talking.
We're going to come back to that. I want to talk about 1724 Christian black codes. That's what the courtroom used. That's what they're using on Young Thug right now. That's what they're using on everybody, you know, from celebrities to regular people. Without that, but we'll get back to that. And remember, he said color of law. We'll get back to that. Pay attention.
That's color of law. That's how you enforce color of law. White male, black male. That's how you enforce your law. Uh-huh. Yeah. You never describe the national descent of a people, because if you have to put down a national descent, you have to tell who you are. And all of you're American, right? You're American? You're American. You're not even a naturalized citizen, lady. You come from Europe. You're not American. American is a geographic landmass, north, central, and south, and adjoining islands. You people came here in 1492 and thus after. Where's your green card? Who gave you naturalization rights here in my land? I'm asking you. What nationality are you? What nation's flag, what country's flag do you come with? What country's flag are you here with? You're supposed to answer these questions. You know that, right? You have no other option.
So are you.
You have no other option.
What gives you more authority than us? What gives you more authority than us?
My nationality is recognized at the United Nations. It's on the public record. Proclaimed.
Any of us are.
I'm not a I'm not a 14th Amendment corporate person. I'm not a 15th.
That we'd like to get home to his parents. That's what this is
You're
about.
kidnapping my child and you refuse to identify yourself. You're covering up your name tag, ain't you? Already got it. Yeah, there you go.
My name tag, there you
Yeah,
go.
I know. I've been letting you know, but I knew what you were doing, though. Pretty smart, though. Yeah, but first you cover the name tag.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you, sir, look at all these people who are in this. This is funny. I have the right to walk where I want to walk. You know.
Hey, get this little
You can't tell me that you have my child. You can't touch me.
You're not going to step up.
I'm letting you know right now, you don't have the right to do anything to me. I do not consent to your private corporate law. That's my child. And you have not properly identified yourself in law, and you know you haven't. That's why you're looking fearful. You have
Pay attention to the word consent. Notice how he said that. Notice how he's bullying them around. Now, if he was using regular words with his complexion and how he looked, as most people would think he's a black man, he'd have been on the floor beat up by now, put in handcuffs and violated. Pay attention.
not properly identified yourself in law.
There's no fearful here.
Okay,
You don't
you have my child. You
not
can say
walk
what you want to say all you want to. You can, if once you touch me, I'm going to own your ass. That's my child. I already got you for that. You can get all puffy if you want to. I got each one of you.
Okay.
Yeah. I got each one of you. I got every last one of you.
We're done here.
No, that's when you're done here. What? Interrogating my child like the Inquisition? That's my child. That's my child. You have not. You can't tell me what to do, man. You can't tell me what to do, and you know it. You know that's my child. You have. You want it. You want to harm me. I know you want to touch me.
You guys come on back.
I'm not going to touch you like that. That's my child. You got. And so conspiracy, and kidnapping. You got to know the law. I'm trying to help you here, but I appreciate your resolve for standing your ground.
Thank you.
The child is not a ward of the state. Your corporate state. So you just admitted you kidnapped my child. Thank you. You have no right. You have not identified yourself properly in law. None of you all. You didn't identify yourself.
Are we done? All right, we're done. See ya.
No, I will see you before I let you slide, but I'm not now.
Very good.
Very good. Kidnapping. Look at wow. Look at all these colonizers kidnapping. You're losing your power all over the planet. American. Not American. Make sure I get all of this information here. Wow. Look at another one. Oh, wow. Let me get you two. Yeah. Got you two. You're a world ignoramus. Get in the house.
All right, that was a quick video about a Moore brother, that basically, was having his kid detained by the police. He was only an 8-year-old kid, and he broke it down. You know what I'm saying? He knows his rights, and that's very important. A lot of our people wait to get locked up, and grab a lawyer, a dude they never met, who's actually in the same judicial system, that you are fighting, like Young Thug. Never met this dude, or barely know him, whether you have him on retainer or not. He's a part of the illegal justice system that's there to ruin him. You know what I mean? And this guy didn't use no lawyer. He just knew his rights. He understood color of law. Under color of law, they can't touch you. Like, they can't say, Jamaican man, Haitian man, Irish man, Puerto Rican man. It has to be black, white, or Hispanic. That's how they, do these things to get you locked up. That's the same thing they're doing to Young Thug right now, and many other people that they done over for years. So, bottom line law, LAW. I want to, reiterate the narrative for our people, so-called Black and Hispanic people, the urban communities. No matter what you look like, if you're from the urban community, you got the foot on your neck just like everybody else. So what we want to do is we want to change it. Law usually scares people from the urban community because they don't know nothing about it. But once you know the law, you can change that into living, LAW. A wonderful life. Because, like he said, it's a beautiful thing to know the law. He was able to get his kid back, just because they knew what he was saying. Okay. Now, 1724 Christian Black Codes, right? This is what they operate under. This is what they do on a Young Thug. Okay. I want to read those a little bit to you so you can kind of understand where this is all going from. All right. A lot of people are confused with what's going on, is why they're being taken advantage of. And even like if you go hire a lawyer and you think that's your answer to all your problems, you're wrong, because that's money you could be taking to take care of your kids, or, put away for your savings, or put in investments instead of giving it to some crook. Lawyer means liar. That's what it means. You know what I mean? Because he's not telling you the truth. Bottom line is that he broke down that they took a constitutional oath to uphold his inalienable constitutional rights. All right. This is why they hit you with color of law, because color of law means fake person. All right. There's no such thing as color. All right. And that's how they've been operating for years. You know what I mean? And once you wake up to that, they really can't do anything to you, because they don't have the status. They don't have the jurisdiction. They don't have the power, just like they had to give him back his son. They wanted to beat him up. You know how it goes, for people that look like us. They wanted to beat him up. They wanted to do him dirty, but they can't. Because when they know you can't, they know that you know that they can't, they won't. And he was recording. All right. So I want to read a little bit of the 1724 Christian Black Codes. I got songs that I actually talk about that. Mobile Life. Shout out to my man Villa Dom. He's on that song. I got another song I just dropped, UCC 1-308. We'll talk about that another time, another topic. But these are the things that this is what they do. Okay. And then we're going to go on a little bit to the Young Thug sitting in front of the judge. And I'm going to show you another brother that asks how you talk to the judge and how you let the judge talk to you. Most of our people just sit there and let the judge talk at them and don't know what they're going through, and they relying on this lawyer who's a liar to get them out of this legal tyranny, that he's really not doing nothing for you. He's on the judge's side. You know what I mean? A lot of times these judges are on the bar association, which is illegal. We'll talk about that another time too. I'm gonna give you things like, I don't know, when you guys come and peep my live, or I will come with a pen, I will come with a paper, and I will come with your phone so you can Google everything I'm saying and educate yourself, educate your children, educate your your wives, educate your husbands, educate your brothers, educate your friends at work, educate anybody you care about, and save your money. And learn. And the reason why this is important, because, our people will wait till they get locked up, and where they going to go? Where they going to go? They're going to go and live in the law library in jail, when you could be doing that shit now. You know what I'm saying? Where you ain't got to, you can avoid yourself from all that stuff. Okay. I want to read a couple of the 1724 Christian Black Codes. And remember, he said, I know all about your 1724 Christian Black Codes. Remember, he just said that to them, and that shut them down. I'm explaining to you what that is. Okay. One. All right. This is what the police go by. This is what the courtrooms go by. And this is what the government go by to keep the foot on our people's neck that don't know who they are. All right. All right. Black Codes. Degrees of explanation of Jews from the colony. Remember, we're supposed to be the original Jews. All right. All right. 2. Make it imperative on masters to impart religion instructions on their slaves. Okay. 3. Permits the exercise of Roman Catholic creed only. Every other mode of worship is prohibited. Okay. 4. Negroes placed under direction of supervision of any other person than a Catholic are liable to confiscation. Pay attention. That's how they do what they do. This is how the cops are able to beat the shit out of you like they did Rodney King and get away with it, because a Negro, black, or colored, or Hispanic, or even a white person is not a real person. You're 3/4 of a man. You're not a real man. So they can get away with that, And I don't know if y'all remember that movie, 12 Years a Slave, when he was beating the dude, and he was when he first got him as a slave, and he was beating him. And the one of his boys said, "Yo, you're gonna kill him," and he said something that was legal. He said, "So what? A man can do whatever he want to do to his property. Okay? So as long as you're Negro, black, or colored, Hispanic, or white, you're property. That's what you are. All right? Now, 5. Sundays and holidays are to be strictly observed. All Negroes found at work on these days are to be confiscated. Okay? All right. 6. We forbid our white subjects of both sexes to marry with the blacks, under the penalty of being fined and subjected to some other, excuse me, I can't see that word. I can't really, arbitrary punishment. We forbid all curates, priests, missionaries of our secular or regular clergy, and even our chaplains and our navy to sanction such marriages. We also forbid our white subjects and even the mulatto of freeborn blacks to live in a state of, here we go, concubinage with blacks should there be any issue from the kind of intercourse, it will be the person so offering the master of the slave should pay each a fine 300 livers. Should issue be the result of concubinage, and the master with his slave, said master shall not only pay the fine, but deprived of the slave and the children who had shall be adjudged in hospital of the locally. All right. All right, cool. Let's go to 7 real quick. All right. The ceremonies of forms prescribed by the ordinance of Blias and by the edict 1639 for marriages shall be observed both with regret to free persons to slaves, but the consent of father and mother of the slave is not necessary, that the master shall be the only one required. All right, let's go to 9. We forbid all curates to proceed and effect marriages between slaves without proof of consent of their masters, and with also forbid all masters and force their slaves into any marriage against their will. Okay, this is like when you get married, you got to go down to the city hall, whatever y'all do, and you're getting permission, which you really don't got to do. All right, okay, all right. Children issued from marriages of slaves shall follow the condition of their parents and shall belong to the master of the wife and not of the husband. Okay. If the husband and wife have different masters, okay, so meaning you know belongs to the mother no matter what. All right. If the husband be a slave and the wife a free woman, it's our will that the children of whatever sex they may be shall share the condition of their mother and be as free as she, notwithstanding of the servitude of their father. If the father be free and the mother a slave, the children shall be slaves as well. Okay. Masters shall have their Christian slaves buried in consecrated ground. Okay. We forbid slaves to carry offensive weapons or heavy sticks under the penalty of being whipped and of having said weapons confiscated for the benefit of the person seizing the same, and expectation of made in favor of those slaves who are sent in hunting or shooting by their masters, and will carry them with written permission that affect and design some known for mark of a badge. Okay, so today, like, they just hit Young Thug with the they just hit him with weapon and drug charges, something like that. Okay, so this is why they have you get licenses to carry a gun. License. Okay. Now, under the United States Constitution, the Second Amendment is that you have the right to bear arms. Okay, and the Second Amendment shall not be infringed. Okay, which is actually something they took an oath to, is what he was breaking down. Okay, but as long as you Negro, black, color, Hispanic, or white, you need a license. Under the 1724 Christian Black codes is how they operate. Okay. All right. We forbid slaves belonging to different masters to gather in crowds. This is gangs. This is why Young Thug is what he's with. Okay? All right. Into the day by night under the present pretext, wedding, or any other cause, either the dwelling or on the grounds of their masters or elsewhere, much lessons of the highways and scheduled places under the penalty of corporal punishment, which shall be less than the whip, in case of frequent offenses of the kind of offenders shall be branded with the mark of the flower of due loose, and there will be aggravating circumstances. Capital punishment may be applied at all discretion of our judges. Okay. We command all of our subjects, be they officers or not, to seize all such offenders, to arrest and conduct to prison, although they should be no judgment against them. Okay. Masters who shall be convicted of having permitted or tolerated such gatherings as aforesaid, composed of other slaves and their own, shall be sentenced individually to indemnify their neighbors of their damages occasioned by the said gatherings, and to pay for the first time a fine of 30 livres and double them sum and reputation of the offense. Okay. Now this was created in 1724, but these are things that still go on. So they saying livres, but today it's money, which is really fiat. Okay. So this is something they still go on with, all right, to this day. So it's something that you got to really understand and see what is going on, so you can understand what's really going on today that they started back then. All right. We forbid Negroes to sell any commodities, provisions, or produce any kind of without written permission of their masters, or without wearing their known marks of badges. Any persons purchasing anything from Negroes in violence or articles shall be sentenced to pay a fine of 1,500 livres. Okay. Yeah. All right. Provide at length of clothing of slaves, and therefore subsistence. Slaves who shall not be properly fed, clad, and provided for by their masters may give information thereof of the Attorney General, of the Superior Council, of the officers of justice, inferior jurisdiction, and may be written exposition of their wrongs into their hands, upon which information and even officers shall be information from another quarter of Attorney General shall prosecute said masters without charging any cost to the complaints, and our will, that is regulation, be observed in all accusations for crimes, barbarous or inhumane treatment, all right, brought by slaves against their masters. Slaves who are disabled from working, either by the old age disease, or otherwise be disease incurable or not, shall be fed and provided for by their masters. In case they should have been abandoned by said masters, said slaves shall be adjudged to the nearest hospital, to which said masters shall be obliged to pay 8 cents a day for the food and maintenance of each. And these slaves, for the payment of the sum of hospitals, shall have a lien on plantations of the masters. Okay. We declare that the slaves can have no right of any kind and property, and that they acquire either by their own industry or by their liberality. All right. Of others, it by any other means or title, whether shall be full property of their masters, and the children of said slaves, their fathers and mothers, their kindred, or other relations, other free slaves shall have no pretensions or claims thereto, either through testamentary disposition, donations, inter vivos, which declare null and void, and also whether promises they may have made, or whether obligations they may have subscribed to, as having been entered into persons incapable of disposing anything and of participating to any contract. Okay, that's another thing. So meaning you're in a contract, is what they're trying to say. All right. So they're putting you on the contract when you're saying you're Negro, black, colored, white, Hispanic, you on contract, even Asian. All right. All right. Masters shall be responsible for what their slaves have done by their command, and also for what transactions they have permitted their slaves to do. In the shops, in particular lines in commerce, which they were entrusted, in case said slaves shall have acted without the order or authorization of their masters, shall be responsible only for much, and has turned their profit. It said masters have not profited by the doing of transactions of their slaves, which the masters have permitted the slaves to own, shall subjected to claim all against said slaves after the deduction made by the masters of what they do to them, and if said should consist in whole and part of merchandise in which the slaves have permission to traffic, the masters shall come to their share in common with the other creditors. Okay, that's courtroom talk. Okay, all right, this is where lawyer means liar. All right, slaves shall be incapable of a public function and being constituted agents for other persons than their own master, with the powers to manage the conduct of any trade, nor can they serve as arbitrators or experts, nor shall they be called to give the testimony either in civil or in criminal cases, except in shall be a master or necessary and only default of white people. But in no case shall they be permitted to serve witness for or against their masters. Okay, can't tell on them. Meaning the cop could beat the shit out of you. This is why they go home. You can't testify against your master. All right. Slaves shall never be parties or civil suits, either in plaintiffs or defendants shall be allowed to appear, and complaints in criminal case, and their masters shall have the right to act for them in civil matters. The masters shall have the right to act for them in civil matters. Okay. Now let's stop right there. Okay. Now, whatever criminal case they put on you, a lot of people hear this. Okay, if you can't afford a lawyer, the court will appoint you a lawyer. They're telling you they will appoint you a master because you have no right to defend yourself anyway. That's what that means. Okay, so lawyer means liar. Get out of that bullshit that you need a lawyer. You don't need no lawyer. All right, you need to know the law. You need to be your own lawyer. Okay, let's read that one more time. Okay. Cases by their masters shall have the right to act for, okay, sorry about that. Slaves shall never be parties to civil suits, either as plaintiffs or defendants, nor shall they be allowed to appear as complainants in criminal cases, but their masters shall have the right to act for them in civil matters and criminal ones, to demand punishment and reparation for such outrage and excesses in their slaves have suffered from. Slaves may be prosecuted criminally without their masters slaves may be prosecuted criminally without their masters being made parties to the trial, except they should be indicted as accomplices, and said slaves shall be tried at first by the judges of ordinary jurisdiction, if there by any appeal by the superior council, which is the same rules, formalities, and proceedings observed for free persons, save the exceptions mentioned thereafter. The slave who, having struck his master, his mistress, or the husband, or the mistress of the children, shall have produced a bruise, the shedding of blood in the face, shall suffer capital punishment. You hit a cop. You spit at the judge. But if you're Negro, black, and colored, white, and Hispanic, then, you'll be punished for that. But if you know your status, and like he said, I don't have a name, I have a title. It's all wordplay. It's all wordplay. Trust me. You know what a good movie to understand what I'm trying to explain to you. I don't know if people seen the movie The Django. When you watch the movie The Django, and he would roll up with the Django, and he would go to these certain plantations. Like, what you doing with that nigga right there? And he would go, my traveler. This is my traveler. His name is the Django. The wordplay got him around. They would say nigga. He would say traveler. It's all the wordplay. It's all constitutional. See, in the Constitution, you have the right to travel. See, with these corporations, which they call, the government, the law, they're going to say driving. Well, driving is a commercial word. So, meaning if you're doing something commercial and you're driving, you're handling business. So, like if I wanted to give you a ride, to your mother's house or to your job or whatever, I can give a friend or a family member, a ride to work if I wanted to. You know what I mean? But if I'm driving, then that's commercial. So, meaning to make it commercial, that means that my friend would have to pay me to take them over there. He's not paying me. I have the right to travel, and I'm traveling my friend to work. He needs a ride. Today, the way we travel is through car, bike, walk, transportation, train, bus, whatever, But back in the days, we had horse and carriage. All right. But no matter whatever you use, you have the right to travel. That's why in the Django, he kept saying my traveler, because that made him a free man in the eyes of the law. Okay. All right. With regards to outrages or acts of violence committed by the slave against the free person in our will, they will be punished in severity and even with death should the case require it. Thefts of importance and even stealing a horse, mares, mules, oxen, cows, executed by slaves or manumitted persons shall make the offender liable to corporal and even capital punishment according to the circumstances of the case. All right, the stealing of sheep, goats, hogs, poultry, grain, fodder, peas, beans, or other vegetables produced or provisions which committed by slaves shall be punished according to the circumstance of the case, and the judges may sentence them and necessary to be whipped by the public executioner, branded with the mark of the flower of Deluse. Okay. Now look at that word Deluse real quick. All right. Like I said, when you come on, this platform or whatever, you want to, get a pen and paper, Google, and be smarter than what you was when you left. Okay. All right. Deluse, Deleuc. Okay. Deluse meaning. And they say sometimes, so the best way to do it sometimes is etymology. Etymology is a good way to. This is what lawyers use. This is why everybody think they need a lawyer, because the lawyers reading the etymology dictionary of knowing of the true meaning of the origin of the word. Like etymology, basically, like you and me got parents, grandparents, etc. That's how you know where you come from. That's how you know who you are. Etymology tells you where words come from and when they were created and when they came into play. All right. Okay. Now, it's a Latin word. Now, it's good to, understand this, all right? Latin adverb and preposition of separation in space, meaning down from and away, okay? So they're trying to separate everybody, from the actual laws, okay? In case of thefts committed and damages by their slaves, masters, beside the corporal punishment inflicted in their slaves, shall be bound. Make attempts to the injuries resulted in the act said slaves, unless to prefer abandoning them to the to suffer. They shall be bound to make their choice in 3 days from the time of the conviction, Negroes, if not privileged, shall be forever forfeited. Okay, so therefore they could just do what you want. I want to get into the Young Thug thing real quick. I want to show y'all how he's being handled and what they're doing to him right now. Everybody's seen that thing with him coming out to court and talking to the judge. And then I want to show you another brother when he get in front of the judge, how he shuts the judge down legally, lawfully. All right, not legally, lawfully. All right. You know, because they playing head games, man, and this is how they getting over. You know, our people live in fear because they don't know any better. You know, fear comes from ignorance. That's where fear comes from, not knowing any better. You know what I mean? Give me a second, y'all. I got you.
Mr. Steele, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Your Honor. How are you, sir? Good. Always good to see you. I feel the same, Your Honor.
Remember, he's talking to his master, his lawyer. He's not talking to Young Thug.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad we were able to fit you in. Sorry you had to wait a minute. I appreciate your patience. Let me set up the case first. This is Position 20, case number 22 CP 208957, Jeffrey Williams. And I want to say good afternoon to you, Mr. Williams. I'm Judge Wolf. This is your felony first appearance. Good afternoon. We're doing this remotely because of COVID. You have the right to remain silent. You're presumed innocent, and you have the right to an attorney. Your lawyer, Mr. Steele, is on the call. So let me start with you, Mr. Steele. This is a first appearance. Do you want to be heard on probable cause or just bond?
We will be heard on bond, Your Honor.
Okay. So
that's his master, his lawyer.
Is this your case, Mr. Smith?
Yes, Judge.
And is this part of that same indicted case or something different?
That is correct. It is part of the indicted case, Judge.
Okay, if you could announce that first, and then we'll go from there.
Yes, Judge. So these charges, these warrants stem from indictment number 22 SC 182273 as well, Your Honor. Would you like me to go ahead and proceed with my position on bond as well, Judge? Or
yes, please.
Okay. All right. Real quick, I just wanted to pause that because all this CC, statutory stuff that they talking about is really bullshit because that's not what they took an oath to. That's not what keeps them in their job. See, the judge took an oath to the United States Constitution, just like you seen the brother that took his son back from the cops. He said, you took an oath to uphold my unalienable, inalienable constitutional rights. Okay? They're not talking constitution. They're talking statutory. All right? Just like in gangs. Like, I'm no gang member. That's not my style. But at the end of the day, they all got their own, even outside of gangs, people in general, they got their own way that they look at things, Like one day I said, what's up, buddy, to a dude. He said, oh, don't call me buddy. That's disrespectful. I was like, that was the way he looked at life. Like, those are his rules. Okay. But at the end of the day, they hitting you with stuff that they made up within their corporation. That's not what they took an oath to. So all that statutory shit is bullshit. You ain't got to agree to that. Okay. Watch a little bit more, and I'm going to take you to another video to show you how you shut that shit down.
So it's the state's position that given Mr. Williams access to resources, and given that we're still in the process of apprehending everyone on that larger indictment, Your Honor, it's the state's position that he is a flight risk, as well as there's a clear risk to hinder the administrations of justice. Your Honor, officers executed a search warrant at the home of Mr. Williams. They recovered large quantity of drugs, several firearms, one of which including a automatic switch, making it a fully automatic machine gun.
Remember in the 1724 Christian Black Codes, a slave cannot have a weapon. See what I'm saying? But under your constitutional unalienable, inalienable rights, Second Amendment, you have the right to bear arms, and it should not be infringed. Congress can't even infringe that. That's something y'all need to know.
Sure, if these allegations are wrong, Your Honor, we would respectfully request that you deny bond.
And I just want to understand, Mr. Smith, you're saying that Mr. Steele's client, Mr. Williams, he was indicted on that same 22 SC 182273 or not?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. And I thought that it was the state's position, per the delegation order from Judge Brasher, that this court, me being a magistrate court judge, that I don't have authority to consider bond. Is that the case, or are you saying that I do?
And just to clarify, Your Honor, with that indictment, that was a direct indictment. These are additional warrants that were taken out stemming from that particular indictment, whether or not.
Now, Young Thug is the one that's in trouble, right? His life is on the line, okay? He never spoke. He's a slave. You see what the 1724 Christian Black Code said, right? He has not even the right to defend himself, okay? So therefore, with that being said, he's under the jurisdiction of his lawyer being his master. You understand what I'm saying? And with that being said, when you read the 1724 Christian Black Codes, you understand more now what you're looking at, okay? His lawyer's a liar. His lawyer, like they said, if you can't afford a lawyer, the court will appoint you a lawyer. That's all. If you can't afford a master, the court will appoint you a master.
These new warrants will become a part of that indictment. A decision has not been made as of yet.
Got it. But they're within the four corners of indictment 22 SC 182273. These warrants are not part of that indictment.
That is correct, Your Honor.
It would require a re-indictment if the state chose to do so.
That is correct.
Okay, so you do agree that these charges have not been assigned to Judge Plainville. They're unindicted, and it would be for the court to consider today.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, I understand. And it goes beyond Mr. Steele's case with Mr. Williams, but I just want to know for future reference today, Mr. Smith, I appreciate the update. Position 18, Diamante Kendrick. Position 19, Martinez Arnold. They're in the same posture, correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, got it. And Mr. Steele, just to bring you up.
All right, no name, no game. You notice they keep calling him Mr. Williams, but they're not talking to him. First of all, his name ain't Mr. Williams. Okay, that's not what it says on his birth certificate. Okay, that's the straw man shit they trying on him. Okay, and they putting it on him, and Young Thug is not aware of this, so he doesn't know what he's doing. He's putting it all in his faith for some dude that he don't know. All right, the liar, aka the lawyer. Okay, now, pardon me, I got my phone going off. Different stuff I got going on. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to take some time to do this live so I can enlighten, the people in the urban community, you know what I'm saying, of what's really going on, you know what I'm saying, and try to defend yourself from stuff like this because they're doing this for a reason, you know what I mean? A lot of shit going on in Ukraine right now and different worlds, and we can get into that to another later, but the fact of the matter, they're about to fall. You know what I mean? So they're trying to round up, as much people that are from the urban communities as much as they can, because it's our time to rise. And they already know that, It's all in the Bible. That's a whole nother show, though. We can get into that a whole nother time. But the main thing is to teach our people, more about law and what's going on, okay? Now, I want to get off the Young Thug thing just for a second, all right? Notice how he never said anything. He's just letting these people, this prosecutor, who was the other dude that's so-called black, talk about him. He don't know him. What gives you jurisdiction? That's like if I went into KFC and I told somebody your personal business. They're like, oh, word? And they tried to knock on your door and ask you, you'll smack the shit out of them. Fuck, what you asking my business for? Mind your business, B. Okay, same thing. Nobody knows the so-called prosecutor. He doesn't have jurisdiction. Now, I'm going to show you another brother, okay, who's conscious, okay? In the courtroom and how you really handle it, okay? Here we go. All right. Now pay attention. Okay. Whole different subject. Okay. He got a master sitting next to him that he's shutting down, which is a lawyer, which is a liar. The court appointed him a master, which is a lying ass lawyer. He shut him down. He's going to shut down the prosecutor, and he's going to shut down the judge. Because without your consent, they ain't got nothing.
As a constitutional obligation, and do not point to yes, you have a constitutional oath to uphold the Constitution, ma'am. You misunderstand the procedure. I will attempt to explain it to you. Objection. The documents that you want are not documents that are in the court's file at this point in time.
Objection,
I don't know
ma'am.
if they would ever be in the court's file at this point in time. If your position
that's
is,
not my problem, ma'am.
absolutely, it's your problem.
That's
Your
not my
position
problem.
is that you want them from the prosecutor, and you have requested them from the prosecutor.
That's right.
And the prosecutor has failed to give them to you.
That's right.
You can make the appropriate application to the court, and you can say to the court, I've asked for them, I'm entitled to them, I haven't gotten them, order them to give it to me.
I've already filed
received
a notarized affidavit of fact in reference to return of property weeks ago. A notarized affidavit. So if you're telling me you don't have to acknowledge affidavits, all right, that's what your statement is. However, bottom line is this court has failed to prove jurisdiction and has avoided the issue of jurisdiction at all costs. And nobody in here has the status. All right? Nobody has proven status, and nobody in here has the authority to proceed. Now, the last hearing we discussed, you stated that
Could you please
this
stop yelling
matter,
at me?
this matter, you stated, ma'am, for the record, you stated that this matter was relative to jurisdiction, not Mr. Keesler's position here, and not anything else. You stated that you were giving the prosecution a chance to prove jurisdiction, and he's not even the assigned prosecutor to the case, but obviously he's remaining silent, and he has nothing to state. So I move that this case be dismissed.
When there is an appropriate application before this court to address the issue of discovery violations, jurisdiction, or anything else, the court will act. Filing a notarized or not notarized affidavit is not an appropriate way to bring a matter before the attention of the court. What you must file is a notice of motion that sets forth the relief that you want, and it needs to be supported with a certification, an affidavit, whatever it is.
Can you repeat that, ma'am?
Notice of motion. This is exactly what I told Cheyenne Matoda Kushner L.
For the record, man, which rule, authority, courtroom rule, statute are you using?
It's in the court rules. I do
to
not
address that
recall.
matter?
It is in the court rules. I do not recall, and I'm not going to look up for you the exact court rule, but the court rules set out the procedure that you must.
Notice how he's challenging the judge. Where are those court rules at? His lawyer, that the court appointed to him, has nothing to say because he shut him down. Okay? He's challenging the judge. Okay? And now when you go back to the Young Thug video, what you notice is that they wasn't talking to Young Thug. They was talking to his master, the liar. And they was talking to the prosecutor, the bullshitter. Okay? Now, by them not talking to Young Thug, they were able to proceed. They can't go forward with him. So the judge got to go back and forth. They playing ping pong right now because they can't go forward without his consent because he's not letting that bullshit lawyer, his master, talk for him and bring him into jurisdiction to get him crucified. Pay attention.
Objection, ma'am. I'm not a part of your society. I'm not subject to your courtroom rules, and you have not proven jurisdiction.
And I will never address the issue of jurisdiction until and unless the appropriate
Pay attention to that. He don't work for you. He don't work for the corporation. He doesn't work for them. So why should I have to be subject to any of your rules and obligations? Like if you work for Macy's or you work for AT&T, you can't be late. You got to show up on time. You got to go to lunch at this time. All right, you got to do what they say. But if I was just to go on Macy's and shop, and then leave after I bought what I bought, that don't mean I'm subject to their rules because I'm in there. I'm not an employee. I don't work here. I'm just shopping.
Application is made before the court because filing either an affidavit that's notarized or an affidavit that's not notarized does not bring it before the attention of this court.
Objection. There is no discretion to ignore the lack of jurisdiction. Lewis versus United States. Jurisdiction is fundamental.
You're dropping them case laws on them right now, all right? Supreme Court rules.
And that is application of Y300P.132 versus caveat. Once jurisdiction is challenged, the court cannot proceed when it clearly appears before the...
Look at his lawyer, the liar, sitting there, can't do shit. He's powerless. You give them the power. Take the power. See how his lawyer's standing there? Can't do nothing. And he's only standing there because the judge is making him stand there. Because he works for that judge. He got to do what the judge tell him to do. You don't got to do what the judge tell you to do, as long as you don't consent. And I'm going to give y'all a case law on that, okay, from the Supreme Court. Now, what y'all need to understand, federal law and Supreme Court cases apply to state court cases, Holler versus Rose. So whatever the Supreme Court do, all these other courtrooms are supposed to do. But they don't, because they know you don't know no better. So they get over on you. It's like 3-card Molly. It's a hustle. Pay attention.
Jurisdiction. The court has no authority to reach merits, but rather should dismiss the action. Melo versus United States 505 F2D. When jurisdiction is challenged, the party invoked jurisdiction has the burden of establishing. Basso versus U.S. Power Light Company. Courts enforcing their statutes do not act judicially, but merely ministerially. Thus, no judicial immunity, and unlike courts of law, do not obtain jurisdiction by service of process, nor even arrest and compelled appearance. I'm here by way of threat, duress, coercion. I'm going to make that clear for the record every time I have to appear here, if I have to appear here. The only reason I'm appearing here is by way of your threat, duress, coercion, or your company's threat, duress, coercion.
You can read me, let me interrupt you, please. You can read me this until the cows come home. You can read it ad nauseum and ad infinitum. It doesn't change the fact that until the issue is brought appropriately before this court, no ruling with regard to jurisdiction is ever going to be made. Now, let me ask you this question, though. In the other matter, first of all, let me backtrack a little bit. Let me get the correct number out here because we now have two numbers. In the case with indictment number 08-04-0.
All right, 1 second. You say how the prosecutor ain't got nothing to say? Because he can't. Because old boy, the fellow Mobite, is holding it down. They can't proceed. Now, in Young Thug case, they proceed. And Young Thug ain't say one word. He's just sitting there. Like a slave, because he doesn't know any better. He's got faith in this master who he thinks is a lawyer, who's got his best interests at heart, who he probably, most likely, gave his hard-earned money to, who's going to rob him, take his money, and help the judge put him in jail. Pay attention.
441, which is the one in which Cheyenne M. Cushing-Murrell is also involved. I have severed those matters, so they will be on completely separate tracks. But he told me that he had filed a notice of removal to the federal court. And my question to you is, have you filed a notice of removal to federal court with regard to any of these matters?
Yes, ma'am. Notice of removal has been filed.
All of them?
Regarding all matters.
The three matters?
Yes, the three matters that
May I ask you, please, would you tell me, when did you file this?
It was filed last night. FedEx.
To the federal court?
To the federal court.
Right.
Yes.
As I am sure you are aware.
That's another circumstance too. Like, you know, this is Jersey. In Jersey, they pretty tough. You know, I've been in courtrooms where you could blow their doors off and they won't really mess with you when they see you know what you're doing. And then you've been in some courtrooms, you know, where this judge is a tough judge. Jersey's a tough state. You know, it's all about, you know, sword game. It's masonry. Okay, she's standing her ground, he's standing his ground. But don't get confused by what she's saying or this. Okay, the bottom line, no matter what that chick say, she's not moving forward like they was in Young Thug case. He's shutting them down. So don't be blinded. Like, she's not in charge. He's in charge. Pay attention.
With the court accepts them, then
There are two types of lizard or reptilian
ask you this question though. In the other matter, first of all, let me backtrack a little bit.
Motion move
All of them? All of them?
regarding all matters.
The three matters?
Yes, the three matters that
May I ask you please, would you tell me, when did you file this?
it was filed last night. FedEx.
To the federal court?
To the federal court.
Fine.
Yes.
Now, as I am sure you are aware, if the court accepts them, then we will simply transfer them to the federal court. We won't deal with them anymore.
Okay, well, I'm still sure you're aware of the matter that you've not proven jurisdiction in either of the hearings and that you avoided addressing the issue of jurisdiction.
And I will continue to not address the issue of jurisdiction until the appropriate motion is filed with the court and the court has the ability to address it and make a determination with regard to it.
And Judge, if I could just comment, that's the issue at hand. As currently stands, we are representing.
Objection. You're not representing the issue.
Therefore, it would be our responsibility to file that motion. Given the fact that you will not cooperate with our office, it's impossible for us to do that.
Objection.
We really need to
Well,
reach the issue.
I want to get back to what I do want to get back to what Amir KCL said. Now, we addressed the issue to some extent with regard to the indictments. I have here for you, and the record will reflect, that I am giving you a copy of the indictment that has 08-07-0727 and also 08-04-0441.
Objection. Just for the record, the Office of Public Defense is not representing me. You don't have any power of attorney for me, and I'm not part of your society, so you cannot represent me, and we do not share nationalities. Okay, now, for the record,
Mr.
I need the
Kramer,
nationality of every agent in here, and I need the name and information because I'm suing everybody.
Mr. Kramer,
Everybody. So I need everybody's name and your position. Starting with you,
excuse
sir.
me, who was calling out from the audience?
I was, man.
No, you were not.
Um,
No, do not hand anything over. Nothing. In the audience, please do not call out while court is in session, or the officer will ask you to leave.
Okay. As soon as his lawyer, the lion-ass lawyer, tried to speak, you see how he shut him down, right? Because he's not a slave. That's not his master. He made that very clear. Okay. And the only reason why he said what he said we're representing him, but it's difficult to represent him without his cooperation. You get it? No consent, no name, no game. We're going to cover a lot of videos. This is my first video, so y'all got to excuse me, but I'm doing this from my heart. I'm just doing this because I'm tired of us seeing our people just being taken advantage of because they lack of ignorance. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's like it's time to smarten up. And, if you think this video or whatever, is bullshit and you rather just go and, depend on some fucking person you don't even know called a lawyer, aka a liar, then, you'll be in the same boat we've been in for years now. But if you got enough guts and enough common sense to look at it, because I'm going to tell you something, what I'm trying to teach people takes guts because it's very intimidating. When you walk in the courtroom, they pat you down. They make sure that you ain't got no weapons on you. But they got weapons on them. You understand what I'm saying? When you go in the courtroom, mostly they talk at you. They don't talk to you. They talk to your lawyer. Okay? I'm going to read y'all something. I'm about to cut this live. All right? And I will be doing more down the road. Okay? And I need y'all to understand something. Okay? That this is a Supreme Court ruling. Okay? And the Supreme Court is the Trump court. It's called the court of record. Okay? If it's not a court of record, it's not a real court. Meaning it's a private corporation. Okay? All right. I want to read something to y'all real quick. Okay? All right. This is case law from the Supreme Court. All right? All men decide for themselves whether or not they want to participate in the institutions of men or not. The United States Supreme Court confirmed this when they said, every man is independent of all laws except those prescribed by nature. He is not bound by any institution formed by his fellow men without his consent. Cruden versus Neal. 2 NC 338, May term 1796. I'm going to say it again. Cruden, Curden, versus Neal, Neal. 2 NC 338, May term 1796. Okay? So, let me talk to you about principle of liberty. Principle of liberty. Consent and jurisdiction. It's all about consent and jurisdiction. In order to possess liberty, it is extremely important that you understand consent. Our servant government cannot do anything without your consent. We're going to come back to another video. I'll probably post one in another couple days. You know, the Young Thug situation is bothering me. You know, the Casanova situation is bothering me. You know, a lot of situations have been bothering me, you know, and I wasn't always conscious of this. You know, don't get me wrong. When I became conscious of it, I used to do classes. I owned a barbershop, and we did classes. I had a teacher, shout out to Kame, our teacher, and we would do, you know, classes on, you know, teaching people about themselves, and we would do classes on teaching people how to get out of jail and stay out of jail. All right. Those class, we did them for free. You know, I didn't charge. We did it for our heart, you know, and the teacher that was appointed, Kame, you know, he did it from his heart, you know. Kame had about 5 kids, a wife, and he took his, you know, his spare time to do that. And we helped a lot of people. We helped a lot of people. And I do miss those classes, but you know, I went through some things. I got hit by a Mack truck, and you know, I used to sell cars and you know, run a barbershop. I used to be on the radio doing a lot of things, and you know, underground I was doing these classes to help our people. But ever since I got hit by the truck and you know, did some changes, you know, I got rid of the barbershop. I stopped selling cars, you know, and I got other businesses now that I do. You know, I've been working for myself for over 20 years. You know, and on my free time I studied, you know, and I found these things out. A lot of people, you know, do know about stuff like this, but they keep it to themselves. You know, me, I believe that life gives to the givers and takes from the takers. So I'm gonna give this to people. You know, it's actually people that I know that would come to the class and who was doing a lot of bad shit, and they thought that they can come to the class and get around the karma of what they was doing. You know what I mean? And it probably caught up to them later. All right. But this is not for you to manipulate and do things like that's wrong. You know what I mean? That's messed up to people or whatever, and just use it, you know, to get around so you could do bullshit. No, it's so bullshit can't happen to you. Not so you could do bullshit to people and then, you know, take advantage of it in court and think you can come back out and do it. That's not how it works. No. This is so you can't be taken advantage of, you know, by this servant government who you think, and most people think, you know, is their parent government. No, you're their parent. They're not your parent. You know, the Constitution start off with we the people, meaning we the people are their boss. They work for us. They're there to serve us. So they took that constitutional oath to serve you. I don't care what other oaths they took. They took state oaths. Cool. All right. But I'm going to read one more thing to y'all. Okay. Out of the Constitution, Article 6. Okay. I'm going to read one more thing to y'all. Okay. And so y'all can understand that how they're breaking the law. Okay. So the bottom line, you know, you're the creme de la creme, not them. Okay, but you have to know you the creme de la creme. You know, they know you the creme de la creme, but if you let them take advantage of you, they will. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, this is Article 6 of the United States Constitution. Okay, this is what judges and every officer and every lawyer, you know, are bound by. Okay, even people on welfare, they're bound by this. You know, child support, all of them are bound by this. Okay. Article 6, United States Constitution. All right. All debts, contracted engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under the Constitution as the Confederation. The Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all the treaties made and what shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land, and every judge in every state is bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws in any state that are to the contrary are notwithstanding. Okay, so what y'all need to understand is that the statutes and penal codes they try to hit you with don't override the Constitution. Okay, Marbury versus Madison. Anything in conflict with the Constitution or infringing the Constitution is against the law. Don't matter what they come up with, what statute they come up with, what penal code they try to hit you with. Congress don't even have the power to do that. They're bound by it. And when you talk to the judge like that, he understands that and he knows it. He don't like when you talk to him like that because it ain't shit he can do. But the bottom line is they can't proceed with doing you dirty. You don't want them to proceed with doing you dirty. They're not your friends. They're your servants. And make sure you let them know that. Okay? But yo, we're going to cut this live short. You know, I don't know if some of this went over some people's heads or whatever, but I will tune back in. I suggest you tune back in. And I suggest you get to learn some things because next time I'm going to go over some different things and we'll follow the Young Thug case and we'll try to see if we can dissect it, you know, to help other people out so they don't have to go through this. You know what I'm saying? The strongest muscle we got is our brain. So let's exercise it. Okay. And law will never scare us again as long as we study. Okay. Because people try to scare you with that. I'll call it law. Okay. Well, law for people that know it means living a wonderful life. Because once you know the law, can't nobody take that from you. Just like the Moore brother told the cop, it's a beautiful thing to know the law. And ignorance of the law is no excuse. And a lot of these cops and a lot of these judges don't even know the law. All they know how to do is procedure. And when you shut down their procedure, ain't nothing they can do. They don't know what to do. And remember, they need your consent. Without your consent, they can't do shit. Nothing. Nada. Okay? 1, 2, 1, 2. Remember that, all right? Yo, I'll be back. All right? WAPO. Salute.